Y'all, you won't believe the absolute earthquake that just rocked the fashion world. Hold on to your designer bags because this is seriously shocking. Fashion powerhouses Mike Jeff and Matthew Smith, you know, the big shots behind Abercrombie and Fitch, have just been arrested on federal charges that are giving us major Diddy vibes.
At the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Oh, apparently not.
Everything ain't for everybody.
The former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch and two others have been arrested as part of a criminal investigation by the FBI.
Now here's where things get absolutely juicy. There have been whispers, and I mean wild whispers, that Diddy might have handed over some kind of list of powerful names to the feds to save his own skin. Sure, people rolled their eyes at first, calling it gossip, but honey, after these latest arrests, it's not looking so far-fetched anymore. Nobody saw it coming when former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO Mike Jeff became the first domino to fall. Jeff, his partner Matthew Smith, and this mysterious character named James Jacobson have just been slapped with federal charges for running what they're calling a disturbing underground operation. And get this, the charges are identical to what Diddy's facing. Coincidence? Girl, I think not. The feds are coming in hot, accusing Jeff, Smith, and Jacobson of using every trick in the book: manipulation, fraud, coercion, to exploit young male models. These poor babies thought they were getting their big break in modeling, but instead, I can't even. Sources say Jeff was hosting these absolutely twisted gatherings at his New York mansion, luring these innocent souls in with promises of career-changing opportunities, only to trap them in this dark, horrifying underworld. Sure, we've all heard about Diddy's infamous parties, but apparently the fashion industry has its own skeleton-filled closet. The FBI started digging into Mike Jeff and his crew last year after this absolutely explosive BBC report dropped some serious bombs about Jeff and his partner exploiting young men at these exclusive gatherings in their New York properties and fancy hotels worldwide. But here's the tea that's making everyone's jaws drop. For months, the feds were struggling to build their case. That is, until some mystery insider dropped the mother of all tips in their lap. And now, the streets are buzzing that this mystery snitch might be none other than Diddy himself. Like, can you even? Brian Peace, the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York, spilled all the tea about these shocking charges. According to him, Jeff was running this super calculated high-level operation with middlemen and recruiters who'd basically shop for men to satisfy Jeff and his partner's darkest desires. This wasn't just about power. It was about dominance, privilege, and exploitation that will make your skin crawl.
He was using his power, his wealth, and his influence to traffic men for his own sexual pleasure and that of his romantic partner, Matthew Smith.
The tea gets even hotter. Apparently, Jeff and Smith hired this James Jacobson character to be their chief recruiter and middleman. But honey, this wasn't your average talent scout situation. Jacobson was allegedly holding these private tryouts with young, ambitious male models worldwide, testing how far they'd go for cash. Once Jeff and Smith gave their stamp of approval, these poor souls were flown to exclusive New York spots or fancy hotels around the globe for, well, you know what I mean?
Jeffries and Smith employed James Jacobson to act as a recruiter to find men. Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men across the world where he would typically pay them to engage in sex acts with him. Following the tryouts with Jacobson, Smith would often then personally approve whether the men who were selected would meet Jeffries and Smith. The defendants would fly the selected men to Jeffries and Smith's homes in the Hamptons in New York City, or to hotels around the world in such places as England, France, Italy, Morocco, and St. Bart's, for the purpose of attending events to engage in commercial sex.
My heart absolutely breaks because most of these men had no idea what they were walking into. They thought they were getting legitimate modeling gigs with Abercrombie and Fitch, their big break. But when they arrived, total nightmare. According to Peace, these poor things were forced to sign these super strict non-disclosure agreements that basically trapped them in silence forever.
In an interview process that did not inform the men of the details of the sex events before they attended, including the full extent and nature of the sexual activity that would be required of the men at these events. They caused the men to believe that attending these sex events could yield modeling opportunities with Abercrombie or otherwise benefit their careers.
As this case gets deeper and darker, the connections between Diddy, these powerful enablers, and these shocking crimes are becoming impossible to ignore. The part about these aspiring models allegedly being forced to take spiked drinks and muscle relaxants, it's giving major deja vu because similar tactics were allegedly used by Diddy with young artists trying to make it in music. The internet is absolutely losing it, with people theorizing that Diddy might have actually helped set up these twisted parties for Jeff and Smith. And get this, the prosecution has 15 male victims ready to testify. They're saying Jeff threw millions into keeping this disturbing operation running smoothly and secret for years. While Diddy's sitting behind bars without bail, Jeff managed to buy his freedom with a cool $10 million bond. The similarities between their cases are wild, both facing civil and criminal charges. The only difference? Diddy allegedly went after young artists, while Jeff's world was all about aspiring models. This whole nightmare might have stayed buried if it weren't for the BBC's incredible investigation. They uncovered absolutely chilling stories, including one from David Bradbury, a former model whose testimony blew this case wide open. Bradbury spilled about how the middleman basically told him meeting the CEO would cost him his dignity. It was like selling fame, he said, and the price was, well, you get it. When Bradbury finally got to Jeff's Hampton mansion, what happened there? He calls them dark memories. His brave story encouraged other victims to come forward with even more disturbing details, including allegations about being injected with liquid Viagra by Jeff's staff. Just when we thought Diddy's secrets were shocking, it turns out we're barely scratching the surface of these dark networks in fashion and entertainment. The reality of powerful people preying on desperate young talent, it goes so much deeper than Hollywood. Looking at the charges against Diddy, Mike Jeff, and even Jeffrey Epstein, it's clear that this world of glitz and glamour has some seriously dark corners. These stories about underground rings in Hollywood have been floating around forever, usually dismissed as conspiracy theories. But now, with more victims finding their voice, it's becoming impossible to deny that something truly evil has been hiding in plain sight for decades. Now, spill the tea. What do you think about all this? Do you believe Diddy really handed over evidence to take down Jeff? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this story is far from over.